What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka Allfires. First up, if you stopped by the live watch party late last night, thank you so much. There were a ton of people in there, the most ever. We got up past 1,000 concurrent viewers, and then unfortunately, Comcast Internet didn't want to cooperate, and my internet dropped. Fortunately, we were about halfway through the episode and I got a chance to talk to a lot of you, so we'll be back live next week. In the meantime, hopefully you've had a chance by now to see episode 1, because we're going to break down everything, all the Easter eggs, explain what was going on in some of these scenes, how it sets up major conditions for the MCU going forward, which very clearly, according to this, could include Battleworld and the future of Avengers Secret War, the most major of crossover events, one we've all been talking about for the MCU, and directed by none other than Dr. Doom. We're going to break down everything in the depth of this first episode for Loki on Disney+, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We're still giving away a PlayStation 5 now at 900,000 subscribers, as well as Disney+ subscriptions every week while the shows are live. We'll announce a brand new winner for that at the end of this video. We're also giving away a CGC signature series, Avengers 118, graded in a 9.4. Not only is this an amazing grade and an amazing cover, but CGC signature series means they were there in person when it gets signed by none other than Loki, Tom Hiddleston, and Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, who happen to both be part of the story and side by side on the cover, making it the perfect giveaway while we're still early in the Disney Plus season this year. If you want to be entered to win the PlayStations, the Disney Plus subscriptions, or this comic that will run from today until the very last Easter egg video at the end of the season, all the same rules will always apply. All you have to do, hit that subscribe button, then leave a comment down below, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there and announce a brand new Disney Plus winner. Now, I love the idea that there are plenty of people at home who have seen 1 or 2 Infinity Saga films, definitely not the entire run, and some people have not seen Avengers Endgame. That's why, from not only a production standpoint, hey, free budget, free film, but for the sake of catching everybody up, they give us this scene from Avengers Endgame that shows us how this Loki variant was able to escape. What we learn in the future of this episode is the proper flow of time. They then go immediately to explaining how this wasn't really a loophole or some sort of plot hole during Avengers Endgame, that there is a protocol in the MCU for when things disturb the proper flow of time, and that's the Time Variance Authority, which immediately rushes in to collect Loki and the Tesseract. Also important to note, the reason that the TVA didn't show up on the Avengers when they did their whole time heist shenanigans was because we find out from Mobius later that that was what they were quote-unquote supposed to do. We'll start talking about fate and predeterminism in a minute. I think it may have something to do with the ultimate climax of the show, but let's play just a little more look and see before we start jumping into the climax for the series in episode 1. We then get what is probably the most important exposition dump of this intro in Act 1, where we're introduced to the Time Variance Authority. She then says it appears to be a standard sequence violation, branches growing at a stable rate and slope, variant identified. A standard sequence violation, meaning the proper flow of time is interrupted. In doing so, that creates this variant of Loki, a variation of the Loki that should be in the timeline where he eventually dies to Thanos, and the standard rate and slope means there's nothing making it any more critical. I really like what the show has started to do in the first episode. Of course, I saw the pre-screener for episode 2, where they're explaining as much as they need to, succinctly for the time, but they're not making it too heady. They're not bogging you down, because they're going to get into some very complex ideas and theories, but has been brought up many times before. Some of the writers from Rick and Morty get directly involved so that they can keep it light and keep it fun, explain only as much as they need to as they go along, and for an episode that should have been extremely hard to follow, considering everything they crammed into it, it felt pretty good, and even like someone who wasn't completely up on this kind of sci-fi or the MCU could keep up with the characters, and honestly, that's a testament to Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston. Now, they don't waste a lot of time after a couple of jokes and basically setting up the TVA headquarters of getting into what's probably one of the most important exposition dumps in the entire MCU up until now, and I'll try to explain it if you missed anything. They literally say, sharpen your pencil and check this out. A long time ago, there was a vast multiversal war. Countless unique timelines battled each other for supremacy, and I want to stop it right there. Countless unique timelines. So you remember in Avengers Endgame where he goes, hey, 2 nebulas, and Thanos goes, no, 1 nebula, two different times. The same way the Loki we're seeing here is a variant of the Loki we saw throughout the Infinity Saga, but it's one Loki in two different times. Does that make sense? This is saying that there are unique timelines, different timelines, other than the one that is in the proper flow of time for the MCU, the one that we watch and they say, quote unquote, ends the way it should have. Later he says the Avengers didn't do anything wrong, they were supposed to do that. This is one unique timeline, but there are other unique timelines, and in this original vast multiversal war, they all battled each other. Now, that's interesting because Battleworld is really based on the entire multiverse coming together in the future of Secret Wars. And we've been talking about Secret Wars literally since the mention of Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, the fact that they would even do these kind of events. Even the Russo brothers chimed in and said that Secret Wars would be even bigger than Infinity War and Avengers Endgame ever were. And it doesn't matter whether they went by the original Secret Wars or the most recent one with God King Doom, that eventually comes to a full-on fractured multiverse war where we literally get the name Battleworld. And it sounds like it's the future of the MCU, and maybe sooner than later. She then explains that the all-knowing timekeepers bring peace by reorganizing the multiverse into a single timeline. So all the unique timelines having their sacred timeline or the proper flow for each unique one. She then explains that it doesn't matter what you were doing, whether you veered off because you started an uprising or because you were late for work. Those two things next to each other kind of reminded me of Thor Ragnarok, a friend from work, and Korg starting an uprising. But either way, that veering off creates a nexus event. Yes, Scarlet Witch, a nexus being, and if left unchecked, could branch into madness, the multiverse of madness, danger, multiverse. They literally could not have put this more on the nose. And you have this huge cartoon with the multiverse exploding. We have Multiverse of Madness right around the corner and a reference to Nexus, which we know Wanda is a Nexus being. So they've basically given us the roadmap for how the entire multiverse works. There are different timelines with different iterations of people, but among each timeline, if you branch off, you become a variant of the proper version of yourself. Of course, this opens that idea again of, determinism and fate, no one having any free will or choice, that all that's supposed to happen is what happens, and things that aren't supposed to happen are somehow cleaned up by the TVA. And I'm guessing, since it was introduced in the beginning of the first episode, is again major thematic throughout the series. Finding your own way directly relates to Loki. He's still in the same place where he is plotting and scheming at every turn. He immediately comes in front of these humans and is ready to jump up on a rock and start exclaiming who he is with glorious purpose. But he can come around and change, and the idea of change or someone becoming different, sort of leads to the idea that you have free will, which is in opposition of there being a predetermined proper flow of time, which is what the TVA is trying to do. And we know that, if Loki's plotting and scheming, he may have some tricks up his sleeve. Now, speaking of Loki having some tricks up their sleeve, in this next huge scene we got where Owen Wilson's talking to the kid, he said, "Don't worry, the devil's afraid of us," right in front of the stained glass mirror that shows what looks like perhaps the devil, and it's a troll. Because this is not talking about Mephisto. If you're confused as to who they're hunting here, why they need quote-unquote Loki's unique Loki perspective as we saw in the trailers, I can think of one other prominent Marvel character who wears a set of horns. They might not be red, but they're gold. Starts with an L. He has his own series. Yes, Loki wears devil's horns. So I think this was maybe a joke for all of us who thought that Mephisto was going to show up in WandaVision, or maybe just implying that obviously there's varying degrees of evil for all of these different Lokis across different unique timelines, specifically because we know that this Loki, if it is Loki because of the devil horns, isn't the Loki that's in front of us. We already know where his timeline ends, and presumably if he was the one who was creating all this mischief, then the Time Variance Authority wouldn't need him to help them figure out what makes a Loki tick, which is what we find out coming from the next scene. And there's some emotional moments, but also we get a quick shot of that file that was making its way around Instagram earlier with all of this sort of information on Loki. And what we see here is that they say the Sector is 1900 to 2099. Now, we don't exactly know what a sector is, but 2099 in Marvel Comics is a very well-known run for X-Men, Spider-Man 2099. That's Earth 928, and the fact that they put that on there is definitely on purpose and an Easter egg for a well-known Marvel franchise spinoff. Now, when we get to the scene between Morbius and Loki, it does a lot of heavy lifting and has its place in the scene and for the narrative, but also it does a lot of work in catching up the lay fan, who again may have not seen every film in the Infinity Saga, as to what's going on with this character in Loki, explaining his backstory through exposition that makes it seem like Owen Wilson's character in Mobius is really trying to figure out what's the motivation here, because obviously whichever quote-unquote person they're hunting, whatever they need for this knowledge, they are way behind and completely clueless as to why this person is doing what they do. He figures if they start working with this Loki variant, he can start to understand other Lokis across different unique timelines, not this specific Loki, but supposed other Lokis, and that's what leads to, of course, all the leaked screenshots and theories that we're going to get to see other versions of Lokis. Again, not from this timeline, but for other unique timelines that make up the multiverse. I love the next scene because Loki is so arrogant. It's one of the hallmarks of his character. It's what defined him. Even in his final moments, he thought he actually had a shot at killing Thanos while the man had 2 Infinity Stones on his hand. He's just so arrogant sometimes. But when he sees all those Infinity Stones sitting on that tray, he is absolutely dumbfounded, to the point where he stops what he's doing, stands up slowly, and soberly utters to himself, "Is this the greatest power in the universe?" Yeah, it's Loki, and he may be real arrogant, but he recognizes power when he sees it, and here they have just a drawer full of Infinity Stones. I love that you see several time stones sitting on the tray. This is another confirmer of different timelines, again, unique timelines making up the multiverse, each with their own sacred timeline. The Timekeepers figured they can't have people making all these different decisions in chaos, so each one of those timelines gets their own sacred timeline, quote unquote, the proper flow of time. Now you have these Infinity Stones that have come from altered timelines, one of which being, this is how he ended up there with the Tesseract, and they're just collecting them in a drawer. They're just collecting them in a drawer. Quick side note, we've heard the official synopsis for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness literally starts with the sentence, as Doctor Strange continues his research on the Time Stone. Well, with the Time Stone having been destroyed in that main continuity, the time, a proper flow of time, should I say, that this variant is from, we would assume there'd be no more stones there, but now we see that there is literally a desk at the TVA that's full of time stones. Also, quick side note, when Doctor Strange told Tony Stark that his job was protecting his reality, it seems to imply that Doctor Strange realized there were several other realities, which means he probably knows about the TVA and their function. His job, Doctor Strange, is the Sorcerer Supreme of this reality, which opens the door wide open for different versions of characters in all of these unique timelines, variations of Peter Parkers like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and the explainer just got a little bit clearer as to what's going on for the future of the MCU and the Spider-Verse, which is right around the corner at the end of this year and supposedly playing a main role between WandaVision and Doctor Strange. Although I said it in the past at the channel several times, I think we were kind of downplaying how important Loki would be, and just this very first episode has set up so many rules and facts for how the multiverse works in the MCU. Literally, we'll probably be deciphering this for weeks to come, and if anything arises in the future, here's your playbook for the rules. Here it is, guys. This is the multiversal rules right here as set by the TVA. Now, one of the things I really liked about this episode was it was much longer than your per capita Disney Plus Marvel show, and you could throw Disney Plus Star Wars in there as well. It was much longer, and in being so could really follow that sort of 3-act format that gives you the introduction, the climax, and the resolution. And the resolution of this episode, after he's been sobered for a number of reasons, he can admit that he doesn't enjoy hurting people and that really it's just a facade to create. They then show us this new version of whomever that they are hunting at the end of the episode. Obviously, this is leading you know where into episode 2, and we won't spoil it there. We'll leave it as a cliffhanger. But in all, to me, this episode hit on so many levels that were so important for brand new MCU content, and where WandaVision and even the Falcon and the Winter Soldier arguably felt a little bit insular with their characters and their stories, this felt so overly connected. And I made mention a couple of times after watching these couple of first episodes that this is going to force the lay fan who has just started to get into the MCU to really start to press back and want to watch the rest of the Infinity Saga. And with all these new rules set up for how all of this works, you have to imagine the intrigue is going to be at an all-time high. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments as it relates to any and all of this, questions included. I know we're going to be picking out Easter eggs for the rest of the week, and it's going to be that way with this series. We anticipated it would be heavy. Again, let me know all your thoughts down below. I'm all ears, and quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. We're still giving away Disney Plus subscriptions every week. We're about to announce a brand new winner in just a moment. We're also giving away PlayStation 5 at 900,000 subscribers. We're going to continue to give PlayStations away at every major subscriber mark. Now, while Loki is live, starting with this video right up until the last Easter egg video, comment on any video at the channel, every single one that comes out in between this time, that gives you a chance to be entered to win this Avengers 118 graded in a 9.4, signed by Tom Hiddleston Loki and Elizabeth Olsen Scarlet Witch on the cover. This is an amazing cover. As far as graded comics go, you've got almost every Avenger. They're fighting Dormammu. Doctor Strange is on the cover. You see Lady Thor there. There's tons. Black Panther, Namor. This is such a cool comic. It's so related to Disney Plus, given this actor and this actress with their own series now signing this. If you want to be entered to win, all the same rules apply. Hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Now let's announce a brand new Disney Plus subscriber winner. Congratulations, Dr. Buds 420. Amazing. His comment, Loki is going to be sick, probably better than the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, day 2 of trying to get a PS5. Well, you didn't win the PS5. Doesn't omit you from winning the PS5, but you did indeed win a year-long subscription to Disney Plus. I've gone ahead and subscribed to your YouTube account. All you have to do is either DM me on Instagram at IamFires, or go ahead and email me on my business email. It's under the About section. We have a verification process. We'll get you verified and get a Visa gift card right out to you for a year's worth of subscription to Disney Plus. And guys, it's that easy. If you want to be entered to win, again, all you have to do, sub button, leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All notifications turned on is the best way to keep up with the content. So hit that notification bell, all notifications turned on. And as always, if you enjoyed today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. My name is Michael Roman. You can find me over on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, any place where you find original music, Amazon, all of those, Apple Music, under the name All Fires, with a couple of original songs, and we're releasing a brand new single in the coming weeks. Guys, thanks so much for keeping up with the channel. Again, I apologize about the internet going out last night for the live watch party, but we will be bringing it back again next week. I'm not sure whether it's Wednesday or Friday. Either one will be there, and I appreciate all those who came through last night. All right, guys, take it easy. We'll be posting again real soon.